What's happening, guys? This is Popular Paxton here, and today I'm going to be doing a little bit of like a collection video, but it's not on wooden trains or Trackmaster trains. It's not very on like any kind of train models. It's going to be on the paper faces I put on my good trucks and bad trucks that are seen in Medieval Misadventures. So I don't know how popular this video is going to be, but I just feel like I want to show all my faces because there are some you may not have seen yet, some I want to show you and maybe kind of explain or something. So yeah, I'm just going to get started on this. So the first good truck we're going to look at is Riot here. So let me turn him on the turntable and zoom in on his main happy face. So when I first started customizing Rico and Riot, just give me a second here. Yeah, this was made from an Edwards tender that I originally had as a scrap model, but I decided to turn it into like a truck, even though there's really no such thing as a truck like this. But you know what? Medieval Misadventures is a fantasy series, so you know anything can really happen. So anyways, when I was designing the faces for Rico and Riot, at first they had clay faces, but then I switched to paper. But anyways, I wanted to have the idea that one of them would have one eyebrow would be like this and the other one would be raised up, like kind of upside down. And then on the next one's face, the eyebrows would be switched. So like from Rico's left, he would have a normal eyebrow, and then on his right, his eyebrow would be upside down. And then on Riot, no, not Riot, Rico, I don't even know if I was saying Riot's name at first, but anyways, on Rico's face, his left eyebrow would be upside down and his right one would be the way it should be. But anyways, I'm going to get the paper faces, and then I'm going to show you Riot's different expressions. Okay, so besides his happy face, Riot has three other faces here. So here is his surprised, shocked face, right here. Here is his sad face, where his eyelids are kind of halfway down, and he's sad. And then here is his angry face. And something that all these faces have in common is that his mouth is open, but not on this one. But oh well. So yes, and I will say that some faces that were used for some of the early parts of the truck movie, they were eventually changed as production continued. So Riot's face that you see right here, this is not how it originally looked. I changed some of the faces because either they weren't very good, or maybe they would get a little, I don't know, like messy with like the ink from the pen I was using. But yeah, so this was not his original face of made from paper. But anyways, those are Riot's faces, and let's move on to the next good truck. Alright, so our next good truck is Karl. And so while this is going to be a collection of the different faces, I may go about explaining some of the custom trucks, like the ones that are painted like Riot and Karl. So yeah, this could kind of double as a custom model segment for most of my good trucks and bad trucks, even though I've done model segments on them before. I just might repeat some of their modeling history. So Karl was made from a riggedy, and originally this truck was seen in my episode The Wheel of Power, and it had a scruffy face on it, and there were no black lines on the side here. This was because back then I kind of had an idea for not a Medieval Misadventure story, but a different Thomas Series story, where I'm just going to go off subject here, where Scruffy decides to put Douglas in an accident since he was the one who brought his worst enemy, Oliver, to Sodor. And Scruffy is actually able to find a truck that has the same face as him. So this truck acts as a stunt double as it pushes Douglas off the broken rolling river bridge that was seen in The Great Discovery. So yeah, that was just a story I ended up deciding not to do. It wasn't going to be part of Submarine Railway Tales because I wasn't thinking about that series around that time. But yeah, anyways, this had a scruffy face and it was seen in the Wheel of Power and it had no lines on it. And then later I decided to just make it a regular truck, like not a scruffy look-alike. And then I decided it could be a good truck, even though it was originally a bad truck in the Wheel of Power. But anyway, so here is Karl. And anyways, let me show you his faces down here. So he's got 4 other faces. So here is his angry face. Here is his surprised face. This is his sad face. And then this right here is his like puzzled, curious look. Because this was the first face I made for him. Because I was originally planning to just use this face only. Because Karl's personality is that he's very curious. A lot of his dialogue and a lot of the stuff he says, they're always just questions, mostly. And he might even ask some repeat questions just to make sure he remembers what he wants to learn. Yeah, he's just very curious, and so he always asks questions a lot. But anyways, after like the second part of the truck movie, where Karl's only expression was this one right here, I decided I would add some more expressions to him, just to expand his I wouldn't say expand the horizons, but expand the different kind of looks he could have, because just this face is not going to make it through the whole movie. So yeah. So that's Karl's happy face, and then these are his other 4 faces. Angry, shocked, or surprised, confused, or puzzled, or curious, and of course sad. So, before I move on to the next truck, I'll just say that Karl, as well as a couple other trucks, like Rico, Riot, and another truck, Nicholas, they were originally going to keep their faces that they had at first in the first couple parts. But yeah, I just decided to give them more different faces. So yeah, I'm just going to point out that some trucks were not going to have more than one face at first, but of course that changed for the better. So I'm just going to take Karl, put him away, and our next truck is a box car with an arched face. So you would probably remember his name is Archie, which is fitting since his face is an arch like Stanley and Sydney. And so, Archie was made from a baggage car. And yeah, some of these trucks I may not be able to explain their personalities very good, because some trucks like Riot and Archie here and a couple others, their personalities may be kind of hard to decide on. But anyways, let me show you Archie's different faces. So here is his like angry look. Here is his sad look, where he's kind of looking down towards what would be his left. So it's like he's kind of looking down towards his left buffer if he's sad. And then this, of course, is his shocked face. So, just give me a second. So yeah, those are Archie's faces. And yeah. And so our next truck is Rico. So Rico was made from a scrap Gordon's tender. And as you can see, the paint is kind of wearing off on his wheels. I may try to touch it up later on. but I don't know right now. And since they were scrapped, the coal was even rusted, so I had to repaint the coal. But anyway, so here's Rico's face, and let me bring Riot back here so I can show you how their faces are similar. So you see, it's basically their eyebrows are switched around on both faces. Yeah. So anyways, here's Rico. So here's his sad face, his surprised face, and his upset face. Well, more like mad face, where his eyelids are about halfway down. He's more like annoyed that way. But anyways, that's Rico. And now our next truck is Lucy, the slate truck. Now this slate truck was purchased from Shapeways. And then I took the chassis from a battery-powered James's Tender from the Learning Curve era. And then I used foam tape to get it to stick onto the chassis. And so Lucy, in some of the early drafts of the truck movie, I was kind of thinking that Lucy would kind of be like a bit of a renegade, or more like a rebel kind of type of truck. She's just basically one that wants to like just give the bad trucks grief whenever she feels like it, not when they are starting to cause trouble. She wants to do it whenever she wants to. But anyways, that's Lucy's main face. She's got her eyelids about halfway down. And I put eyelashes on there so you know she's a girl. And then here are her other two faces. So she's got kind of like an unamused expression. And she's kind of looking to her right a bit. And then this is a new one that I made on the day I'm filming this. I don't know if I'll get this uploaded on the same day. But this is her surprise face, where her eyes are all the way open. And she's got a round open mouth like she's shocked. So that's Lucy, the slate truck. And now our next truck is an oil tanker named Scaredy. He is a fuel car. And so, by his name, he is pretty much a bit of a coward. He tries to be brave, and when he is brave, he treasures every moment. Just as much as he treasures his friends. Now, in case you didn't remember, this thing that's hanging on him, this is what's called a talisman. It's basically like a necklace that holds special powers. So, Scaredy found this in part 5 of the truck movie when he was at Ulfstead Castle with the other trucks. And in case this thing doesn't give it away, it does belong to Timothy the number 0. So what I did for this was I basically just drew the design, cut it, and then took some fishing wire and taped it on the back. Just enough so that I can fit over his little thing there, his like lid that opens for the tankers to be filled. So this is Scaredy's happy face, and then right here is his scared face, and then this is kind of his mainly upset face. He doesn't really look angry or anything, he looks more like concerned or something, but I didn't want to make him look like too angry for anything. So yeah, that is Scaredy. Our next good truck is Fang, the tar tanker. So Fang was originally made from a paint it yourself tanker, and I actually had that tanker painted as a raspberry syrup tanker from the season 8 episode Too Hot for Thomas. I decided to paint it into a tar tanker because I already had 3 oil tankers, technically 4. But yeah, there were Scaredy, Chester, Sinister, and Fungus, so I didn't really need any more oil tankers, so I decided to make a tar tanker. So, Fang's face, he does indeed have fangs, and his eyes are like squinting, because he kind of really doesn't like the bright light of the sun. And so based on his face and his name, You would almost think he's like a vampire. He almost even talks like a vampire, because, you know, like, he would talk like this or something. But he's not really. He just has a stuffy nose, which would explain why his voice sounds like this. Yeah, he just has a stuffy nose, which is why he almost sounds like a vampire. But anyways, here are his other two faces. So, here's like his mad face, where his eyes are still squinting, and then this is another new face I made, where his eyes are actually open, and he's a bit surprised. So yes, so those are Fang's faces, and let's move on to our next truck. So now here is Mario, who was made from a dart in disguise. So I always had the idea that I would take an extra dart in disguise and an extra dent in disguise and put faces on them, so they actually look like actual freight cars and not just diesels in disguise. So here's Mario's happy face. And then here is the other four faces. So here is his sad face. Here is his surprised, scared face. Here's his grumpy face. And then here is the face where he's sleeping because with his eyes closed. Because Mario is nocturnal, where he's usually awake at night and he sleeps during the day. Although in most of the recent cases, he's had to be awake during the day because of the trouble Dredd and his friends are causing. So he has to be awake so he can help save the day. And while this doesn't always please him, he knows it's best to help his fellow trucks and keep his friends safe. So yeah, Mario is nocturnal, at least sometimes. Other times he has to be wide awake so he can be ready to take on anything. So that's Mario, and these are his other four faces. So here we have Nicholas. Now, Nicholas was made from an old style Annie that I got from a flea market. I did paint his name on the bottom there. And originally I was kind of having him be based off of like the boxcar from Thomas's Goods Train in Journey Beyond Solar, the one that faces backwards and always goes, "Are we there yet? Are we there yet?" Yeah, and so one of his faces right here, this one, would kind of show like he's kind of bored and so he's always asking, "Are we there yet?" However, I kind of changed his personality, and basically he's now with the way his eyelids are usually halfway down. Basically, my personality for Nicholas is that he's a laid-back, fun-loving boxcar who tries not to let anything bother him other than the bad guys or losing his leader. So yeah, I think Nicholas's happy face is kind of my favorite face, because I said on Twitter when I was talking to someone that it best resembles his personality. And so yeah, Nicholas will couple up backwards. Well, he will couple the other way. Yeah. So he's usually facing backwards when he's part of a train or something, but other times he can move with his face going forwards, depending on what the situation is. So let's take a look at all his other faces. So he's got the most faces by far. So here was like his first face before I decided to make him be smiling. So this was like his first face, where he's kind of like, are we there yet? Or he's rather unimpressed. This is his sad face, where his eyelids aren't exactly halfway across his pupils. His pupils are halfway in his eyes, but he's just feeling sad and he's looking down. And it's almost kind of like Archie, where he's looking down towards his left buffer. Up here are a couple of new faces, these two. So here, he's going to be looking to his right as he's traveling backwards, or if he's traveling forwards, either way. But he's looking to his right, and he's kind of like, are we there yet, I guess. Then up here, he's kind of looking up towards his left as he's traveling backwards. So yeah, and then here is his angry face where his eyelids are still halfway down. And then here is our two other new faces I drew for him. So here his eyelids are no longer halfway down. So this is like his blank expression. This was also kind of like a blank expression, but this is like a blank expression or like a surprised expression. I don't know if I'll really make like a scared face for him. I could, but it's not a priority right now. And then here's his other happy face when his eyelids are not all the way, when his eyelids are not halfway down. So that's Nicholas. So now we're going to look at two trucks at once. This is Danny and this is Danielle, the twin brother-sister slate cars. So this is Danny's happy face and this is Danielle's happy face. So here's Danny's angry face and here's his surprise face, which is similar to Scaredy's surprise face, but his tooth is a little smaller. And then his angry face is almost like Scaredy's angry face, but he looks more angry rather than concerned. And here's Danielle's angry face, and then here's her shocked, scared face. Let's bring in the next good truck, which is Sonic. He was made from a den in disguise, as you can obviously tell. And because his name is Sonic, he does have a pretty loud voice. You know, he talks about this loud all the time. You know, he's got an outdoor voice and an outdoor voice only. You know. So here's his happy face. And then here is his newest face, which is like his surprised, scared face. Here is his sad face. And then here is his angry face. And our last good truck is Chester, the oil tanker. He was made from a red oil tanker because you can kind of see the red right there. And basically he's prone to having his tongue sticking out no matter what kind of expression he has, because here are his other two faces. So here's where he's kind of like annoyed, then here's where he's scared. So yeah, that's Chester. So yeah, he kind of looks a little goofy with his tongue sticking out, but he's not really very dumb or anything. He can be a bit smart when he can be. And so yeah. So that's all the good trucks and all of their faces. So I'm going to put Chester over here and put his faces in this pile of all the other good truck faces. And then I'll show you guys the bad trucks and their faces in another video, because this video has become pretty long and there's also music playing downstairs and I don't want to like pick any of it up and get copyright. So yeah, I'll do the bad trucks in another video, although it probably won't be as long. But yeah, that's been this little collection like video on all the different faces for the good trucks here. At least the ones that use paper faces. So thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye.